she is?
Yeah, I just click live.
Okay.
But keep going. It takes a while for people to come on. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Houston. She's in Houston.
Yeah.
She wants to move to Austin.
Yeah, Austin supposed to be a really big hot place for the hippie-minded and consciously aware. So it seems to be a central location. Obviously, in between East and West Coast.
Yeah, Texas is a powerful place. The whole middle of the country. I was looking at a map. I don't even know how it popped up. Somebody put it up, and I looked at it because I wanted to see if Arkansas was on it. It was a map of states that had eliminated mask mandates, and Florida's one of them. Anyway, what I noticed was the core of the country, like literally the geographical core. So it was like Texas, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Arizona, and then you went up right up to Canada, and most all those states were. And I thought, wow, that's kind of trippy. We're living in the age of, the practice of 0 point and bringing everything to the center.
Yeah.
And that's just, there's some powerful stuff going on. By the way, does anybody know that? Yeah, we still got about another 30 seconds, 40 seconds. I guess we can play the intro. That'll get people.
Hello, everybody in the chat room. Shout out.
Yeah, that's all the platforms that we're on, which is I think 11. I lost count. So all the comments will come up. Let's see. We're a minute 45. Oh, we'll just skip the intro. Okay, so there are no coincidences. First of all, let me say, don't forget about Sology Fest in Sedona. We still got 40 tickets. I know they're going to go because we're going to start promoting it more in the next couple of days. But don't forget about it. It's going to be online, and it's also live, obviously, in Sedona. And I just want to remind everybody that we're not doing this for profit. I think everybody knows that after all these years. Otherwise, Todd wouldn't be doing this, or he would have sold out or something. But excuse me. We're actually, everything that we're doing is to create the reality of the 24/7, 365, what I call universal network. The Sology Network just happens to be the name for it. And this is something that was downloaded for many years, and it's all coming together now. So any energetic, any energetics that we get behind us, anything that we have that's flowing with us, which is everybody's love, support, contributions, and all of our collaborative efforts, it's all going towards creating that. And when I get back from Sedona, I'm going to hook up the first 2 channels, and they're going to run 24 hours a day from an independent site with no censorship. It's a platform where people will be able to plug in like they do on YouTube and Facebook. It's a combination, and they'll be able to express themselves without any type of restrictions. And of course, it'll have instant messenger type stuff and all that. But the main thing is it'll be a platform for people to develop their own stations, channels, shows, and spirit and soul. So I just wanted to say that. I have these 2 friends of mine on here, and they've both been on my path, over the last 10 years. I met Ann Butters. I came out the streets in the summer of 2013. I probably met Ann early 2014. That's really when I started talking to people. Up to that point, I was the typical empath who was reclusive and putting stuff out on Facebook as I was guided by my team, but I wouldn't talk to people. So Ann was one of the first dozen friends I made, and we had some good fellowship, and then Joyce popped into my life a couple of years ago, and then when I was down in Florida, we were messaging in early 2020, and then I find out when I put the post up that they're friends and they're coming on together, because Ann had written me and said, we've got something we want to talk about, but I don't think the name was the same name. But I'm glad we're here. I apologize for it taking so long. Anyone that wants to be on the show, do not message me, please. Message Morgan or Sology One Studios. What is it? Soulogy Network at gmail.com. So having said all that, ladies, thank you for coming in. Thank you for sharing space with us today. It's an honor and a pleasure. In the age of the Holy Trinity and Triad, we have one here on camera today. So welcome to the show, both of you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Todd, very much.
So I know Anne wrote me, and I hadn't heard from her a long time, and this was probably 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And she said, "I'd like to," and I said, "Like, yeah, absolutely," And then of course it just got lost in the abyss of Todd's, energy. But I think there was something you specifically wanted to talk about, and we can do that. This is a conversation, by the way. It's not an interview. Everybody knows that. But yeah, if there's something that's specific that you want to talk about, let's do that. But before we do that, why don't we back up a little bit and tell us, from both of your perspectives, have you always been this weird, or were you born that way?
Well, why don't I kick it off? How about that? So, you may recall, I had head trauma at a very early age. I got hit by a sailboat boom, somewhere around the age of 8. And I drowned. And so when they were bringing me to, they were more focused on having me recover from the drowning incident versus what had happened through the head injury. And so through that head injury, I no longer could read right to left or left to right. I mean, I was only 8, so I probably didn't have a whole lot of depth to begin with. And so some of my gifts started stepping forward even back then. I mean, I was always a little bit different. I seemed to know what people were going to think before they would have the thought, to have the feeling, to have the moment, to even express the thought. So it was just like I was really in that time space reality at a really super early age. And then, like a lot of people, many people, I would dare almost say most people, I hit that proverbial pause button for a while, and I into the corporate world, all snippety doo-dah and
snippety doo-dah. I haven't heard that in a long time.
And there's nothing wrong with the corporate world. It's just, it was a very confusing space for me, like it was very much for you. And then, fast forward through the story and through these dark caverns, when you and I first met, I actually think it might have even predated 14. I have to look back. It was my old account that had gotten hacked. You were still on the streets, and you would call me and tell me, you got that fancy roof over your head. And you're right. It brought me back to an inordinate.
It would. Then it would have been 2013. It would have been before 14. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I met you at the beginning of 13 when I was feeling, that ability to even want to step forward and not be a doormat and the sheer windshield of life anymore. I was just sort of done with being done, and in narrative servitude to people that were not plugged into their soul connection. And you and I recognized a soul connection, much like Joyce and I recognized a soul connection. We've got blips along the way. I mean, we have blips, and then you find that where I'm maybe a little bit weaker. Oh my God, is Joyce amazingly strong. And that's how we landed. And then I'll let Joyce tell her story, and then we'll tell you what we're talking about. Is that fair? Very cool.
Right on.
Yeah, so I guess I had some gifts when I was a child. You don't realize. I mean, I remember doing the Ouija board and a little bit of the levitation.
The Ouija board.
and
demon, just a demon child.
Strange and weird, so you kind of stop that. But the dream state would get messages a lot, and then you go through that period of time where for me anyway, it was a significant trauma in my life, an opportunity to learn unconditional love. At the time, I didn't realize that. So I dealt with, the growing of the things that I wanted to experience in this incarnation anyway. And then lived on an island for a few years and had some things going on there. And then I came back to the States and got connected with the Metaphysical Chapel in Fort Lauderdale. There's a lot of activity in South Florida in general with regards to this. And, really started to kind of get back in and explore again in this area. And it's really funny when you look back and you realize all of the gifts that you really have had all along. And as you start to remember them, you're like, oh, okay, right. So, So I've come full circle with the unconditional love, and I'm starting to receive the abundance and the gifts from that experience as well. So.
Yeah, it's interesting listening to the both of you, and what Anne was talking about with her personal we think of awakening like, oh, everything's connected, or the different experiences that we have, divine episodes and all that, the wake ups, part of it. But it's really what she said. If you look at all the stuff and, all the dynamics of the last 10 years, on or, starting on or about 2012, a big part of it is centered on the empath. And, what she described as a child, or even knowing what people are going to say, that's got me in trouble my whole life. They think I'm not, right? They think you're not listening, and you already know what they're saying. You should drive people crazy. But what she said about, basically, I've had enough of this shit. I am not going to be in this type of relationship. I'm not going to be in this type of vocational atmosphere. I'm taking, and this has been, I think, the beauty of it all that's coming full circle. You talked about full circle, is the reverence and honor and the gallantry and the valor of the human part of us. This is the part that we've been pushing away in each other and in ourselves. And now we are loving ourselves and honoring ourselves in a simultaneous stroke of gratitude and expression and creation with the universe. And so I look at what, like what you said. I mean, it just, to me, there's no coincidence. This is what came to my attention as I came out of dream state, massive lucid dreams, some kind of a correlating message that Morgan sent me. She was doing some muscle testing, trying to feel the energy. She put up a post I saw after but what I'm getting at is there has been a lot of narratives, and the narratives basically all say the same thing, that we have been expending our energy. We have not been conscious of our energy, and now we're learning to focus and collaborate and connect with our energy. And that means that we're getting more powerful. And so there's nothing if you have, for instance, the narrative of the archons, fourth dimensional nefarious entities that are sucking our energy every time we get in a conflict and fight with each other, and these unbridled emotions that are not really us. It's all going away. So as I was taking all this in this morning, before you said what you said and you connect the final dots, we are now honoring ourselves, which means there's a simultaneous action reaction. We're honoring each other. So there is a kind of a calmness coming in from the static. And these things that we thought were more powerful, where we basically appraised our value and our progress on this collective bullshit, we're now overriding that with the I Am Soul. And you guys are two perfect examples for two reasons. One, your individual journey, and two, collaboration. So this is what it's all about today. I mean, it's like assholes and elbows. Excuse me. I'm in
That's all right. Now we know we can swear.
I'm in a cheeky mood today. No, yeah. Well, this is Sology. Do whatever you want to.
Yeah.
You can go ahead and turn that disco music on and start dancing, the both of you.
Right. That's actually we were meeting over. You and I met back when we were still both kind of doing a little bit of our own shadow work. We still recognize. Right? I used to say I was like Lily Tomlin. I had plugged in just enough of my energy fields to be able to know that you and I vibed on a really cool universal level, and there was never a take or a give. It was just like this cool. We were just dancing. We'd both just be dancing. Then I'd have to pass out because I was tired. But
well, the other thing that I think was interesting about that, because I think what happened in let's just say 2012, the internet really blew up. Right. I mean, it really, if you look at the last 10 years, it blew the hell up. And of course, and I think one of the things that happened was we started to actually experience our non-physical energy, all of us. And people were connect. And, you remember back in the day, you used to write and write and write. And then people started sending images, and the images spoke to you. And so I think that was a big deal. And then, of course, when you had the mix of the masculine and feminine,
Yeah.
I mean, Todd been on the streets for 2 years, and he'd been going, ape, and there was a lot of masculine and feminine wound, as there was with all of us. So what I'm trying to get at is when these energies started to come together, there was a higher innate knowing where even though there was the typical templates of male-female connection, there seemed to be, not just with Ann and I, but a lot of people, and I'm not saying I was always a choir boy, but what I'm saying is that people started to realize that the soul recognition was beyond a romantic thing and had a much higher priority than a human experience, or let's just say an unconscious human experience. And I think this is another thing that's really pulling together now, is people are seeing the higher purpose of our overall mission by aligning with their own purpose within themselves. So it's a beautiful thing to see a friend who you've known, and I've said it many times on the show, and I'm sure the same could be said about me. In fact, I know it can, because people send me notes every day. Wow, you've changed a lot. I saw a video of you 5 years ago. It was kind of dark, things like that. But it's great to see people because you're looking at a mirror. You're looking at a mirror of transformation, and this is the order of the day,
I remember one of our conversations was the C word. We talked about conscious celibacy. Even back then, you and I both made a commitment that we were going to honor ourselves.
That's right.
Until we felt like that complete. And, other people would have said, you're crazy. Both of us were like, well, maybe, but this is important enough that I'm going to love myself whole. And, that's not an easy choice for anyone to make, but it does happen. It does happen.
Well, that what you said, and I just kind of summarized, and I said, she basically said, which we all did, especially the empaths, where the empaths gift, which was kind of viewed as a weakness, is now a strength. But the whatever you just said, I forget. But so tell us about what you're doing. Tell us about what's happening with your collaboration. What is it? And let's get started on it.
All right. Well, let me tell you a little bit, and I'm going to let Joyce chime in because she's the one with all the super cool technology, information, highway, how to get there. But, through my awakening, a lot of things happened. I came back online most of the time with my guests. So, I see, hear, touch, taste, and feel, and color, sound, and frequency. I didn't think it was weird. Apparently it is. So go figure. And I started collecting different apparatus to help myself heal, because I had a lot of narratives still going on in my body. So I've built a healing center that can either be stationary or go on wheels. We've got the know-how to use it. So we educate people how to do things like remote viewing, for example.
Really?
Yeah, we can do remote viewing with your hands.
Okay, let's. This is very cool. I just want to make sure I observe that. So you have a healing center that is both something you could set up right there and something that's mobile. And you're talking about putting it in something with four wheels and driving down the road with it, right? Okay. Yeah. I just want to make sure I got it. Okay.
Yes. And so it started like we were introduced by somebody, and Joyce is a get it done girl. And I'm more like, I'm over here getting all the information, all up in the information. I've got the ability to actually implement it. Joyce is bringing it together, and we want to be able to show up and teach people how to use the equipment, but what it's for, how to use it from a pure state of mind, between meditation, Reiki, pranic healing, quantum health, hypnosis. If people need mental health, we've collaborated with people that we can refer people to for hypnosis, for EMDR, for RTM theory. We don't have to be everybody's everything, but we've kind of collaborated with the right people to send them. Like Mandolin, for example, we can send them over for a QHHT. But we want to take it on the road because we're super funny usually together. So,
okay, let me get this. Okay. I remember back then when I met you, I had to be talking about these, this caravan of, going around the country and, but so, and this is sounds like the same type of energy. So you're basically saying, and I'm just trying to get my arms around it. Yeah. So you're going on the road. You're in one sense or another, to one extent or another, and you're coming in almost like a, what am I trying to say? An energy clinic, an energy alignment clinic that's tailor-made for whoever you come across. Now, my question is, do you do this? Will you be doing this in the local, let's say, South Florida area? Are you actually talking about going out across the country? And are you considering cookie cutting the idea?
Well, what we've done is we've collaborated with someone in the West Coast
Mm-hmm.
who can bring the Western medicine aspect to it. We've got people here on the East Coast that bring the Eastern medicine to it. But yes, we're available to do workshops. We're available for a lot of different things, not just to be able to show people, not just the devices that people are exploiting out of the roof on prices. You don't need to get everything. We can show you the reason to get something based on a certain chronic issue that might be showing up in your current reality.
Mm.
And then maybe it is a psychological thing that's tied to it. The value system, I'm not worthy to not feel this crappy. I mean, there's all sorts of things. But we're able to show with the use of a lot of the equipment that I've acquired, from quantum mats to micro current therapy. But more importantly, I can show you how you can do your own touch without one device.
Right.
That's and you can heal your partner. You don't really need one thing for life except for breath. And friends.
And friends. Right. So that's exciting because I've seen, I've traveled quite a bit in these last 5 years, and been to some conferences and gatherings, and of course done a lot of shows, and I've been exposed to a lot of different healing modalities which aren't even typical of, say, an energy practitioner doing a Zoom call or a face-to-face.
Right.
I'm talking about sound healing. I'm talking about colors. I mean, I've seen Keith Kay's work collaborated. They put the colors and the sound in the pool, and people get into the pool. I mean, so there's all these different things, including some things that I've been given or gifted back here, where people have downloaded and then intentionally infused whatever that code was or whatever the ability of the device is. So again, this is all new technology. And then of course, when we talk about technology, there's the technology that we create in physical matter. There's technology of, say, like Reiki, and then there's the technology of what you're talking about, Anne, which is physician heal thyself, right? I mean, you can actually access everything and anything. And so it's a lot like when some people talk about crystals and how important crystals were for them, right? And then after a while, not that it's right for everybody or wrong for anybody, but they would then start to realize that the crystals, as living organisms as they are, were still just kind of a guide, and they could actually access the attributes of that crystal just through their energetic, imaginative thought, right? So to me, that's the real technology, and you're already unattached from all the things that got you there, but willing to share those things with the people that you come across as you're led intuitively and through the devices that you're talking about that kind of assess people, right?
Oh yeah. And Joyce has the setup too, man. She does the bioimaging field. I'll let her talk to you about that, so we can see here's what is being presented beforehand, and then they can have, whether I collaborate or do the sound healing. There are so many ways to do it, but the key is what are you going to take away from any time with any kind of healer if you can't continue to perpetuate that
that's right
patterns into a patternless mindset. I mean, and Joyce comes from she works full-time in technology. I mean, she understands it, and if it's not out there being built, she'd probably get it done.
She's a nerd.
Like you and me.
Yeah, total geek. And I'm okay with that, by the way. So
that's another thing too, see, this is, to me, this is 5D frequency, and this is no judgment. I was told a long time ago, 10 years ago, whatever you do, you can't do what's been done before. So that pretty much clears the slate. But the fact that you're going into it, and I've heard others talk about this. Morgan's talked about this since I met her. She'd say people come once, maybe twice, but and then in a rare occasion 3 times. That's it. I'll never see them again. There's no point. There's no true advancement or expansion at some point if somebody the mother or the baby feeding doesn't come off the tit. You know what I mean? I mean, this is about self-empowerment, and you already have that vision as an objective as a primary objective is when we leave, you're on your own and you can do this, right?
Yeah.
So that's good. That's a good thing. Now you got all these tools and technologies, and you've probably, you've probably spoken of maybe 10 or 12 just in the conversation. But one of the things that's standing out right now is you were mentioning remote viewing, and I can see all the other modalities and tools and technologies kind of grouped over here. How does, and I hope this doesn't get off on a sidebar, because we could go into any of these modalities or technologies and have a whole show, right? But how does remote viewing come into what I would call energy healing? How does that work? How can that help us? Because I believe it could. I haven't really thought about it.
All right. So most of the time I do it alone, like in my space. But if I'm collaborating with someone, like for example, if Joyce is at the base at someone's feet and I'm at the top, there's almost like a telepath. I mean, it's not just almost, there's a telepathic contention that basically we're going to get past the current reality. We're going to connect at a non-egoic level. We're going to get that clear, empty, meaningless, so that we get in tandem with almost that serpentine breath. And it's not even spoken. It is just instantaneously known via our audible ear, which is our skin, that gets all the goosebumps. I mean, right? So then that person is getting that tandem connection. And so if you're using remote viewing, you can use it in your mental mind. Joyce uses it in her mental mind. And I use it in either with on or off body touch. The palms have sensors. I
got you.
I don't know what classes you've already talked about, where we have the sensors, gut instincts have.
No, I haven't talked to anyone, but I can tell you, I get what you're saying. So what you're saying is when, at first blush, you think remote viewing, I'm going to go look at the deep underground military base on the other side of the world on the 77th floor. I'm not trying to be funny or whatever. Right. But I can relate to what you're talking about. And I think a lot of people can, in the atmospheres, for instance, of sacred sexuality, your fingers, your hands, everything has eyes, right? Yeah. I mean, you're actually, so, and then of course, the other thing I think of too, that I'm starting to understand what you're talking about is, for instance, if I have an imbalance in my body, and it comes in the form of a stomach ache or whatever it is, I can go in and speak to that energy, and I can also explore the inner universe, right? So I think that's also, if I'm getting you right, that's part of what you're talking about too. Remote viewing is really moving from the space behind these two eyes that are looking out. It's actually going into the ethers, and whether that's in your body or out of your body. Is that what you're talking about?
In some sense of the word, I am. I mean, I gave you an example that would be more of an in-person situation, but there is the truth. And in a very simplistic way, Joyce and I have talked about this at length. If you have that short-term thing, you think you're running late for something, but then you kind of sit back and you kind of go, no, I'm not. And then you visualize, I'm going to arrive at such and such a time. Right. And you project that time frame. So let's just project that we're going to arrive at, like say 4:44, and it's already 4:30 and it's an hour drive, and we still arrive at 4:44. We were able to remote into the reality that we could bend time to achieve that situation. And it would also give us the knowledge of which direction to go. So there's that way of doing it. Or, get the deal. Like Joyce knows, see the deal and then work backwards.
Or move a house. I moved a house one time. I kept driving up this road and I kept seeing this house that I really like in this one particular area. And then one day I was driving up the road, and guess what they were doing? They were moving the house from where it was to where I kept seeing it. So precognitive remote viewing, right? Yeah. Sometimes you don't make that connection, right? But that's literally what it was. I was seeing the future of it.
Yeah. You can't make this shift up.
No,
and then it also sounds similar to when you engage your future self, right? Like and tap into that part of you that already has, as Morgan says, has already got it figured out, that reminds me of the house story that you're talking about, and also really what it was finding what did you say, the goal, whatever the thing is, and then working backwards, right?
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice to, be able to understand that getting into that energetic future probability state is where everything's available. However, that being said, at least we're all wise enough now to realize that if you start to bring little trinkets along with you, like worry and shame and guilt, you aren't going to get in. It is not going to happen. You got to be dancing and laughing and having dirty feet and planting and playing and, show shedding your way, with young eyes, so that that you can have something born again inside, whatever that might show up for you, for Joyce, for me, for Morgan, for whomever. But we really, we love the idea of, we've been collaborating with some things that have shown us that some collaboration needs some massaging, right? So we're doing some videos to show a lot of the things that we do and the fun that we have when we're doing it. And, we really want to just kind of take it, whether it's to yoga centers, or if we're going to go do some private things. I mean, it's really cool because, like I said, what I can't do, Joyce can, and what Joyce can do, I can't. And it's super neat to be able to get a right there on the spot reading that collaborates with an I Ching, that collaborates with, let's just get into theta and let's talk to your highest perspective now. Why wait? And clear that shit up and just get the shift in gear,
Well, the way that I met Anne, actually, a friend of ours introduced us and took me over to her house, and I got to see some of the technology. And I had been suffering for years with sciatic nerve problem, very painful on the right side. And I was doing everything: exercise, don't exercise, you're aggravating it, going to the chiropractor, doing the massage therapist a couple times a week, you name it, I was doing it. And I'd gotten to that level of frustration that I literally thought my life was over. It's the drama of that. And then I had the opportunity to sit in the lounge.
The lounge.
I love that. I love calling it the lounge, man.
What's the lounge?
You just lay there and do nothing. It's perfect.
So it's like a buffet. So you go to the computer and you click on those things that you're experiencing. And for me, a little bit of, I'd like a little weight loss, a little bit of sciatic help, a little bit of
this and that
and this, whatever those things are. And you just sit there and put a little headset on. You're getting the color therapy and then the sound healing. And I think it was 2, maybe 3 times, hour each. I sat there and boom, done. Because the issue that I was having wasn't a physical issue.
No, of course
it
not.
literally was a pain in my ass, and I know his name. No, I'm not joking. So, and I say that affectionately because he taught me some of my most valuable lessons. But it was the safety.
So you were his pain in the ass.
I'm his goddess and godsend.
Oh, I know. Believe me, I know how this works.
So,
some things never change in the universe. That's why God is a woman. God is a woman. There's no doubt about it.
No doubt. But it reminds us that there's other bodies that we're working with. And the biofield technology that I have allows us to take a picture of your biofield so that you can see some of those things, the disease that is starting to manifest from the heartbreak that you're having, right? So you can start to move that energy through. So practitioners can actually use that software to take a picture of your client beforehand, and then the healing work gets done. And it's kind of like a tune-up, right? You go and have your car checked, and you can have your body checked too. Get a little photo, kind of see what you need to work on. If you have a little energy blockage here or there, you can either use some of these technologies that we're going to be talking about under frequency RX frequency matters, and or start doing some of that Reiki healing or whatever modalities that you choose to use to do that, right?
You're in the hood when you hear the ice cream man. Not gonna miss it.
Is that what that is? Is that what that is?
Right there with me.
Hey, this is beachside living over here on the East Coast, right?
Hey, we have one that comes around here. I haven't heard it since it's been cold, but it comes around here, and it's so cool. I'm in this small town in Arkansas. Yeah, so I'm getting the picture of this. Okay, so I'm just gonna run with it. This is what I do. I just want to. Okay, so whether you're you go, whether they come, and maybe it sounds like even online, okay, that basically you come in, you kind of you plug in, and there's an assessment that comes out of this information that's inputted, virtually, physically, in all ways, right? And then from there, for lack of a better word, the treatment begins with this multifaceted tool belt of technologies and methodologies. Okay, so now, is that all right? Are we okay on all that? Okay, so now I can already tell that there is a vast myriad of technologies and tools and what you're doing, because it is there's a multidimensional feel to it. And I love it too, because I can feel that you're taking in the human with everything else, right? Like you're hitting it head on. So can you take it, because we're gonna have to talk about the accessibility of this longer than I normally do with people. Usually I'll say, hey, here's 5 minutes, you want to talk about what's your website, but I think we're gonna have to dig into yours a little bit deeper. So before we do that, can you give us like 3 examples, or maybe your most effective or most used methods, or I don't know, like 2 or 3 examples where you can kind of take us through, how the treatment works, how the alignment works, because I know you've got a lot there that you can offer.
So the first thing that pops to mind would be, I had a client one time whose mother she was in her 90s. She wasn't going to be here much longer. And they literally wheeled her into my house. And when she showed up, she was tilted and, kind of bouncing, and she had drool, and I never work with anybody with family there. It's just, I have learned through the Dolores Cannon method, it stop, drop, kick the other person out. But this was a different scenario.
Right.
The woman really, truly couldn't move. So I used the apparatus that I felt was the most necessary, but more importantly is I just laid hands just above until I could feel her energy pull me in.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so that would be an example, because by the time she left, she not only was not shaking, she was actually speaking. So this would be a hands off or hands on situation. I think Joyce wants to, so we can do it either way, like you said, on, off, online, in person, and in workshops. I mean, it's pretty.
And then again, just to restate, because I think this is it's one thing to say it, and there's another thing to do it. And I think I see a lot of people doing it. What you're doing, what I'm talking about is that, hey, we're going to open this door. We're going to engage and merge in the fashion of an energy practitioner session. My field is opening up. Our field is opening up. Open yours up. Here we go. Boom. And like in the case of the lady, her essence pulled you in when she was ready. There was some type of right. But what I'm trying to say is, you still are teaching them, showing them to this field of potential and awareness, and then you go on to the next one, which I think is fantastic. Yeah.
It just helps move the energy along. I mean, that's what we're about. We're not about selling anything. Neither one of us are a retail center. I mean, Joyce has a fantastic job in technology, and I have my, work home space that I lovingly refer to as the lounge or shaman shack. But on the weekends, when we collaborate and we do these workshops, we're not just here to say, this is kind of a useful tool if you have this situation. We're there to show you how to use it, maybe how to break through and get sort of to the other side of it. We're there to help coach them. Maybe if you look at this, sometimes the energy that might be the problem here is actually the issue over here. So it's a really neat collaboration. I don't have that answer. So, one of the other things I think Joyce wanted to show was one of the devices.
Yeah.
And I think this is where we complement each other, because sometimes for me, I want to be more in the practical day-to-day aspect of it as well, and the silliness of life, right? So one of the technologies for $29.95 is this.
What is that?
Go ahead. No.
It looks a bit invasive.
It is absolutely fabulous if you want to have beautiful long hair. And
Is it
it's
really?
the Edgar Casey Violet Flame technology, right?
Okay, so that's a well, okay. So for somebody who's walking in the door and didn't hear anything, that's a multi a multi-use apparatus that, for instance, okay, so you're using violet flame technology, whatever, and it's being felt whatever you're using it for, right?
Yeah. So one of
Okay.
the other, yeah.
So she's using it to make her hair long and luscious. Someone who has seizures might use it to move some of the lymphatic system along. Someone with cancer might do the same, placing it under their arms. Somebody who has maybe, I don't know, wrinkles, which suck, right? We don't like it. I earn mine though, so I'm not embarrassed, but I like to give them a little push every now and then, like, you know, come on, you can move, you know, and these are some of the things, but it's really smarter than that technology. Because this technology helps to restore the cellular memory of what our real DNA is supposed to be, and it doesn't get hijacked by the 5G and from fluoride and from having had mercuries in your mouths and from diet and from non-exercise and not loving yourself, basically. It's incredibly affordable, really easy technology. And, you know, I've been trying to teach people slowly but surely for a little bit of time, just kind of looking for those alignment pockets, right? For the time of our kind of come out of the closet and explain all that crap you have back there, Anne. And so, you know, this is just one of those great devices, and people don't need to be taken on a big, you know, huge, expensive trip down monetary lane. You don't have to do that.
Nobody wants to do that. Nobody can.
Yeah.
This is one of many things, right? I mean, this in itself is multifaceted, just the device itself. But like, for instance, like I've read quite a bit. It's been a long time, but I read quite a bit of Edgar Casey, and I know he was an extraordinary man, a soul. And very influential beyond conventional means. But so how do you, is this, because I've met a lot of people that they pull something in, they're led to do it, you know, all the crazy people like us, and you find yourself building something, doing something that you never would have thought. But they basically download it, they're the conduit, they infuse that code into their creation. How does that work with the violet flame thing? Because I know overall you're both doing this, exactly what I just described, and you're also doing it in collaboration, which even makes it exponentially much more powerful. But like the violet flame, do you infuse it yourself? Is there something I'm missing on it? How do you do that?
No, I mean you're tracking. The only thing that you're missing is we're biohacking ourselves. We are truly biohacking ourselves. We are making ourselves healthier. We're making ourselves stronger. I can use that device on the person or another device that I have on the person.
I got you.
Then they could go literally straight from me to the airport and go through that scanner. And the area that we've treated is the only thing that's targeting is why in the hell is there more energy in this area? So it's helping to increase the energy output so that our bioenergy body is actually back into what's called harmonic resonance. Honestly, Todd, the only thing I do full-time and part-time is I'm a sound and frequency healer. That's what it is.
You're a sound and frequency. I absolutely know that you are totally both of you 100% legit, because I know you personally, and I just know. Yeah. The only thing you have going against you is Dane Jones, my brother, went down there and you didn't heal him. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Back into the treehouse behind me, and we haven't hooked up yet. Sometimes people
hooked up. That's too much information. We don't want to know about that.
Not that way.
I'm kidding.
My little brother, I let him sleep.
I know.
A lot. You know that, right?
No, I know it's just a joke. Yeah, because and this is another amazing part of the connectivity that you see behind you and in front of you. So I'm friends with both of you. The next thing I know, you guys are hanging out, and I thought it was really cool. I just wanted to make a joke
Yeah,
because I love pulling his chain.
he's
But
out.
now back to what you were saying. So I get it. Yeah, I mean, like this is. I mean, I'm a big believer in what people might call the placebo effect, right? So I love any type of modality or process. And there's some that wouldn't qualify, but I mean, most would. And that is the energy of creating that space of possibility and
Yeah,
awareness within that person, which is what you're bringing to the table. The instruments are part of that. But really what you're talking about, Ann, is the, I guess, deprogramming and reprogramming the imbalance that we've all been subjected to.
oh yeah.
And yeah, and in a very multifaceted way, you guys are presenting it. How can people get familiar with this, get indoctrinated with it? Do you have a website? You mentioned videos. I mean, can you kind of fill us in and let us know how that all works?
I mean, I am so happy to say that is all Joyce. Joyce.
Okay.
So we've created a website, Frequency Matters, but it's
Hey,
RX. So
okay, hang on. Let me get. I want to put it on all the platforms right now, and then
yeah,
I'll put it in
I
again.
need to connect it to our individual website. So that's not active right now. I'll get that done this week.
Oh, this is not active.
Yeah, but
This
it's
okay.
coming soon. I want people to remember Frequency Matters because that's where we're going to be sharing this type of technology information.
Okay.
But if you go to breadandbutters.org,
I know that name.
yeah,
Bread and butter. So is
yeah,
it bread, A-N-D, all run together, bread and butters?
no,
No.
and with an E. So bread, A-N-N-E, butters, B-U-T-C-R-S.
I got you.
Yeah, .org.
Bread and butters. Okay. All right. .org?
Yes, .org. And then mine is joyfullife.co. And that's
Joyful?
Yep.
Joyful life?
Joyful, JOYFULLIFE.co. And we're in the process of moving some things around to make it easier for folks just to tap into the Frequency Matters information, articles, videos, technology, where you can order it from, inexpensively for yourself directly to help out.
On.
Right.
What about the videos? Are you making videos?
Yes, we're starting those as well.
Yeah, and we've got an introductory. I think I did a meditation for NYU last year on how empathy, using meditation to help with empathy. And there have been other meditations that I've done where, it's just about bringing in the clairs, really trying to help people find their fully cleared selves. And so these are some of the things that we're super excited about, and we'd have a whole lot more populace if we weren't just so completely focused at really making sure that we had the fundamental foundation in place. And I think we do. And I'm just super excited to see you. We go really way back. It's been neat to kind of witness your growth and your potential, and as you said, those kind of probable futures.
Yeah.
I feel that we'll probably be sharing some space in person here pretty soon.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on. Sedona is on the map. I was thinking about maybe doing something in September, but I don't even want to get on it because we still got to, get through this. But I might. Yeah, I was thinking maybe here in Arkansas, in the crystal, the crystal beds.
Yeah,
right
for
on.
sure.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah. While it's before it gets too cold. So maybe September, but I don't know. I'm making my way to Australia. I think it's going to take a few months, maybe even a year and a half. And another thing that I love about y'all's energy too, which I can relate to. We can relate to over here, both of us. And then a lot of people I'm seeing, which is you basically expend yourself You spend yourself in the worthiest, of the day, the worthiest causes, the worthiest parts of you, the alignment, and then you get up the next day and it's a fresh thing, right? And so I like that. I like that. You're not stuck. You're not like saying this is the way. This is the only way. It's a very diverse, option open type of trajectory. And I think that's really important right now, because multidimensionality is multidimensionality. We're not that. We could be singular in the sense that we converge them all.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, what we're doing. But now, do you guys have any plans for hitting the road?
Well, we're coming up on that, but I mean, just to kind of to your point on that you just said, which was really eloquent. I mean, I think one of our hobbies has been interesting at witnessing how systems are organizing now. So like, as crazy as this might seem, one of our outings is just to simply go and sit and show people how to see energy. I mean, nobody really understands it until you do it. Once you know how to see energy, you cannot not see it. There's a lot of knots in that, but you cannot not see it once you're shown. So it's a super thing. The other thing, we're big fans of that 0 point potential, but the remote viewing and bringing in that leveraging gravity and using nutrition. And when you and I met, I was unfooded at that time. Do you remember that?
You were what?
I was an unfooder when you and I met, because I did that for 3 years.
What is that? Like a breatharian?
That's a breatharian. Yeah, I did that for 3.5 years.
You didn't eat for 3 years?
I didn't have anything for 3. I couldn't. It was a really different time space. I was really healing a lot of stuff.
I remember you were healing a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot of shit.
No, I remember you. I remember, believe me, I remember, because that's really one of the things that cut through the bullshit with us, was that we both were dealing with some really deep stuff, which was kind of weird, but to be able to connect with someone at the same time. But now, during that time, what were you ingesting? Water? That's it?
There were times at first when I did it, the reality is I didn't ask to do it. It just sort of found me. I couldn't dry swallow without vomiting back then. I was just sick. I mean, I had a big old butterfly lupus scar on my face coming out, and I was weak. Don't get me wrong, I don't have lupus. It was just its way of saying, you better do something and give this up so you can gain that. It was about awakening my addictions, whatever they might be. Addicted to crap food, addicted to low self-esteem, addicted, and Joyce and I go on and on about that, about getting through the addictive nature, is about bringing in proper nutrition. And nutrition isn't just what we take in through our mouth. In fact, that's just one very limited one.
True.
You listen with your skin. It's what you listen with your ears. I learned how to use the echo chamber of my head so I could hear up here, and with my ears to retrain my brain after a seizure. So there's so many words of incredible wisdom that we really wanted to share with people. It's going to be a lot of fun just to sort of do this. This is like, we call it sort of like doing a living room talk. You sit very comfortably. We're not fancy people. I don't have shoes on. My feet are filthy. But we just want to talk, and we want to laugh, and we want to explain that they're not doing anything that they didn't align with. But if they really want to look like this, they have to figure out where their separation is. And be willing to step into it and get outside of those hobbies.
Yeah, and I like to come from the perspective, like I remember when I first woke up, when I went, re-woke up, let me rephrase, when I went to the metaphysical chapel and I saw transphysical medium, right? And the liquid came out of his mouth, and the gems were on the ground, and in like 2 minutes, 160 some rubies and topaz. And, when you see the apportation process, I'm thinking to myself, wow, when I wake up, I'm going to be able to do that. That's so cool.
Wait. What did this person do? They had,
right.
are you talking about in the physical? They're what? They got rubies coming out of their toes, or what was happening?
There's a whole organization of scientists that study them from around the world, and certainly can put you in contact with those folks. But the message I'm sharing is that when you start to wake up and you see something like that, you're like, oh, well, okay, that's the awakening state. But there's all those things in between that, the ayahuascas, or the tarot cards, or the mediums, or what are all those things for those people that are just waking up, right? So even at that level, to for folks to understand how that all those tools kind of help you along your journey. Some will, some won't, some resonate, some won't. Right. And then to get to that place where you are feeling your own energy and are aware of the higher consciousness that's available to you, right? The shredding process of getting rid of some of the energy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. The fun part, the guerrilla warfare. No, yeah, it's
the light language, everything, all of it. We bring it in, and it's a lot of fun. We laugh. So that's really the most important. Joyce looked at me in my eyes one day, almost with a tear, and she goes, I just want to have fun with a buddy, laugh, and make a difference. And we both really do come from a heart space. We are not everybody's cup of tea until we are. And when we are, we don't look at them and go, you know, that day in 19, you know, you're either going to get into the alignment with us. If we piss you off, you know, let us know what we could, you know, level up on. You know, we're just all going through this, you know.
That's right.
Bioenergy velocity as an antenna through space at the exact same moment. So we might as well have some damn fun.
That's what I say.
I know.
What I say. I'm totally up for that. And it, you know, I get this picture. You remember back in the day? I think I'm older than both of y'all, but I mean, I know I am actually, but they had the bookmobile. Do you remember the book? Remember the bookmobile? They had the bookmobile.
Oh, yeah.
And like the ice cream truck, but the bookmobile would come around. That's what I picture in the energetic field of what the energy of what you're doing. You're gathering, all this information, data. It's stored. It's almost like it's like a pool that you can pull out of what you need, which is great because you keep expanding it.
Yeah, we've collaborated with people literally everywhere. I mean, I have my friend, the shaman up in Massachusetts, and you know, I know Imara out in Denver, and my boyfriend actually has a healing place out in San Diego.
Really?
And Sanitas. So we're going to be going back and forth between here and there, and you know, there's no telling where little places might pop up along the way. But you know, what we really want to do is we just kind of want to bring some humor. I sent a video to my daughter the other day who literally stopped laughing. I mean, she just stopped having any fun. So I sent a video and I went through the whole process of, you know, if you just let the right side of your corner go up just a little bit, and I came over here, I'm like, and then maybe you consider letting the left side of the corner go up a little bit, might form of a smile. And then maybe your belly starts to giggle. You know, that's what we want to do. We just want to laugh. We want to have a little bit of fun and put some of the skills that we've been gifted through our aspirant life to some good use.
Yeah.
Make a difference. You know, obviously there's some financial aspects to it, but we're also available, you know, to do and come and do some conversations. You know, maybe up at the Ladies of Sakara, you know, I don't know if you know the Mary Hardy people up in Michigan. So there's a whole lot of people that are doing some really good work with Holy Grail stuff. And, you know, we just want to get out here and get exposure, and we're just getting started. You know, stage fright can be one of the biggest issues for people to get through. I know Joyce and I both struggle with that. And I took stand-up comedy classes to help me not
Did you really?
Just to teach yoga. I would go into a yoga class and I'd be sitting there and I'd start to almost get pissed off. Like, when is the teacher going to teach the class? I realized I'm the teacher. So I was so afraid to talk. But we have a lot of good stuff to share. And it's, I mean, there's nobody with a bigger and better and more loving heart than Joyce to do this with. And so, you know, thanks for having us. And for
that's what it's all about. So
really
you're very welcome. I mean, so just to get a little bit more clarity now, you guys both have the two websites that I put up on the platforms, and you're creating this mutual one. This is the hub, right? That'll be the hub.
Yes.
And then you're going to be doing some traveling, it sounds like, both through the virtual highway of the internet and also on the road. Sounds like.
And retreats as well. So if you have a group of friends that you want to get together and, you know, set up a retreat, we're doing things like that as well. I mean, honestly, Todd, this all came together because I was so touched by something that Morgan had written that I sent her a little note on the side just to thank her for it. And I think somehow she thought that to do a show. And I was like, well, okay, that sounds good, right?
Well, no, is that what happened? Because
Yeah,
Ann wrote me. I
and I was
see.
like,
Oh, see how things happen. So Ann wrote me a few months ago, and I like I said, don't anybody. I mean, because I'll say yes, I'll get back with you, and I never do. It just doesn't happen.
yeah, so thank
Especially.
you everybody for allowing me to get frequencymattersrx.com connected to the sites. Give me over the weekend to get that done, because at the end of the day, we're going to be adding new content, and it's really just sharing everything that's
Super
in this
cool.
brain over here.
Okay, so here's a really cool thing. Let's say you want to go out on a date with somebody, but you're not sure they're one, and you're just not trusting your higher self. We can take a nice look at the picture. We can do the bioimaging of it, and I can actually read what's happening in their past, their future, and their current life. Just really cool stuff like that. It is fun for us to do. It's never work. We really are in our dharmic state, and it's super fun to get together and share it.
Right on.
Yeah,
Right on, man. And I got to tell you, I've been feeling San Diego for some reason. I got a couple of friends, collaborators that live over there.
You got to meet Mark. He just retired. He's a Western trained doctor. He's a Western MD doctor.
Oh, wow.
He went to school to be an anesthesiologist, but instead he ended up in like emergency care medicine. But 25 years ago, he had an epiphany about how energy works. So he started he calls it the the original healing centers out on the West Coast in Encinitas. It's Center for Advanced Medicine.
Oh, Encinitas, I know where that is.
And he does collaborative. So if somebody, really needs a prescription, he can make that happen. Or he can, like we do, we can coach you with nutrition, with the devices to do it yourself. There's the ability to do some kinesiology like you do, we do. But what's super cool is that he realized the efficacy of functional medicine and holistic medicine. And it was just his common sense that took him there.
Yeah.
I'm like, that you just don't, that's a goal of mine. I don't know. That's my karma right there.
Right?
No doubt.
Yeah, that's a hell of a convergence point for the two people like that.
Yeah.
Wow, far out. Yeah. All right. Well, you're going to have to give me an update. Give us an update. So you're gonna plug this in this weekend, and then that's really going to be the core, the hub for the information and the flow and all that.
Yeah. So exactly. Anybody that wants to, have us come and do some of this are going to realize that they're going to want us to stay a lot longer and come back frequently. And you know what? That's super cool. So we're ready to do it.
Right on. More power to you. I am woman, hear me roar. Well, that's what's happening. That feminine flow is coming out of everybody, and it's a beautiful thing. No more strategy, no more structure.
I am loving every minute of being in my divine feminine energies for sure.
And I'm watching the men come into theirs as well. Yeah. I mean, I love witnessing a man that really can embrace his true self instead of a pretend self. It's beautiful for us to witness. So thank you, men, for doing this. I don't want to say it's about time, because there is no time, but thank you.
Yeah. I haven't seen a lot of women commenting like that, but they obviously, in our evolution, you saw the back and forth of it. But it's happening. Something's going on, and I think we're on the other side of the mountain. But I think in terms of this phase, we're like approaching the summit, like May, like the summer. I don't think we're going to recognize ourselves in 3 months. I think, it's all about intention. Yeah. And that's really where it stops and starts. So your intentions are pure, they're aligned, and they're collaborative. And where two or more gather, everything changes in a cosmic exponential way. So if there's anything I can do to help you, let me know. And I wish you the best, and I hope to see you on the road. And Mark, and let's just keep going, and we'll meet in the middle. How's that?
That's right. We'll see you right at the center.
There you go. Y'all take care.
You too.
Todd.
Peace out.
Tell Morgan hello. Tell Morgan.
I will. I'll tell her. Yeah, I didn't know about all that. I thought this came a different way, but this is perfect.
Yeah. Hey, reach out private, Todd. We'll talk.
All right. Right
All
on.
right.
Right on.
Bye, everyone. Thank you
We'll
for
be back with Jason Estes in 52 minutes.